The story opens in the aftermath of a brutal war. A little orphan girl named Ching Cheng is forced to scavenge for food from the hands of fallen soldiers, doing whatever it takes just to survive one more day. While searching through the bodies, she spots a pair of shoes on a dead soldier and tries to take them for herself. But the moment she's about to put them on, she gets caught in a trap, and it turns out the trap was set by a young prince who's still just a child. He not only steals her food, he also refuses to let her go unless she agrees to become his servant. With no real choice, Ching Cheng accepts, and the boy finally releases her. For a second, it looks like she's going to play along. She even compliments the helmet the prince is wearing, acting impressed by how good it looks. The prince, pleased with himself, proudly lets her hold it for a moment. And that's when Ching Cheng strikes. She smacks him with the helmet, snatches back the food he stole, and runs for her life. But her luck doesn't last. As she scrambles over a fallen log, her only piece of bread slips from her hands and drops into a swamp. Ching Cheng can only break down and cry because that bread was everything. And right then, something impossible happens. A goddess appears before her, a divine figure known as Goddess Manchen. With a simple gesture, she retrieves the bread and places it back into Ching Cheng's hands as if it never fell at all. Then the goddess offers her something far bigger than food. She promises Ching Cheng a future filled with luxury, admiration, and the kind of life people dream about. But there's a price, and it's cruel. Every man Ching Cheng truly loves will eventually die. Even so, Ching Cheng doesn't hesitate. She accepts the offer on the spot, and as soon as the deal is made, the goddess disappears, leaving that deadly fate behind like a shadow. From that moment on, her destiny is sealed by a single vow. This is the promise. 20 years pass. Now we're taken to a valley where the royal army is preparing for a massive battle. Leading them is General Guangming, a feared and respected commander known for his brilliant strategies. But this time, even he is facing impossible odds. His force of 3,000 soldiers is about to collide with a barbarian army of 20,000. To increase his chances, Guangming hires an extra unit made up of 133 slaves. They're cheap, obedient, and desperate. The kind of men who will do anything for a full meal. At one point, a soldier throws food toward them like bait, and the slaves scramble for it in a frenzy. Among them is one slave who stands out immediately. He leaps higher than the others, moving with strange speed and precision, all just to reach that piece of meat. Guangming notices it at once. That slave is Kunlun. The battle begins, and the royal troops take position along a horseshoe-shaped valley under Guangming's direct command. Down below, the slaves are herded into the valley floor like livestock, pushed forward by their handlers. Kunlun hears a deep rumble approaching, and he can tell it's something dangerous. But none of them can run. Their lives have been bought, and escape is not an option. Moments later, the threat reveals itself. A massive stampede of tens of thousands of bulls comes charging in, deliberately unleashed by the barbarian army. The slaves are crushed, thrown aside, and scattered in total chaos. And somehow, out of all that destruction, Kunlun is the only one who survives. Using his incredible speed, he races to find his master, trying to save the one man he's bound to. Other slaves attempt to flee up the hills, but they're cut down by arrows from the royal army, treated as traitors for even trying to escape. Then another moment changes everything. General Guangming aims an arrow at Kunlun, but Kunlun reacts instantly. He moves so fast that the shot misses him and strikes his own master instead. Instead of anger, Guangming is stunned. He's never seen anything like it. Kunlun keeps running, carrying his wounded master, and without even realizing it, he circles the stampede back toward the barbarian forces. The enemy assumes the bulls already wiped out Guangming's troops, not knowing the royal army is still unharmed, marching right behind the stampede and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the stampede tears through the battlefield, nearly half of the barbarian army is wiped out by their own raging bulls. That is when General Guangming seizes the moment. He leads his soldiers straight into the chaos and launches a full attack. A fierce and brutal battle follows, steel clashing against steel. Against all odds, the army that was outnumbered from the start emerges victorious. Guangming's reputation only grows stronger, and his men admire him even more. When the fighting is over, Guangming approaches Kunlun, who is quietly bearing the body of his former master. Seeing that Kunlun has no family and no one left to serve, Guangming makes him an offer to become his personal slave. For Kunlun, this is almost a blessing. Serving a powerful general means better food and a more secure life. He gladly accepts. Not long after, Commander Yeli arrives with urgent news. The northern prince Wu Huan has invaded the royal capital. The king is trapped inside the palace and has personally requested General Guangming's help. Guangming wastes no time. He rides ahead at full speed, with Kunlun racing behind him on foot, keeping up with impossible pace. But along the way, something strange happens. Guangming becomes lost in a banana grove, circling the same ground over and over as if trapped in an illusion. Frustrated, he tells Kunlun they should split up and search for a way out. Whoever finds the exit first will light a torch. In the middle of this confusion, Guangming encounters a mysterious woman dressed in red. At first, he assumes she is some kind of sorceress. He chases her, determined to confront her, only to realize she is actually the goddess Mansion in disguise. She tells him plainly that he will not be able to save the king. Then she transforms into the queen herself, showing him a vision of what is to come. In that vision, the king raises his sword against the queen, and it becomes clear that the king will die at the hands of someone wearing armor, just like Guangming's. The goddess also warns him that the battle in the Horseshoe Valley was his final victory. After this, he will be trapped in sorrow and emotion. Guangming laughs it off, refusing to believe such a fate. But the goddess disappears, leaving her warning behind. Still unable to find his way out, Guangming is suddenly attacked by a warrior dressed in black, a wolf warrior from the Snow Tribe. They fight, and this time Guangming is defeated. The attacker reveals himself to be acting under orders from Prince Wu Huan, sent to kill Guangming and seize his armor. Just as things turn dire, Kunlun arrives. The Snow Wolf warrior tries to snatch Guangming's crown from Kunlun, but quickly realizes Kunlun is far from ordinary. Watching the way Kunlun moves, especially his incredible speed, the warrior suspects that Kunlun belongs to the same Snow Tribe as he does. With that realization, he chooses to withdraw and leaves without finishing the mission. Badly wounded, Guangming understands he cannot continue. He orders Kunlun to save the king in his place and to wear his armor while doing so. Kunlun hesitates, admitting that he does not even know what the king looks like. Guangming explains that the king will be the only man without a weapon. With no other option, Kunlun puts on General Guangming's armor, mounts his horse, and rides toward the palace. The scene shifts to the royal palace. Prince Wu Huan of the north has successfully surrounded the king. But he is not only after the throne. He demands to know where Princess Qingcheng is. Along with his hunger for power, he has long been obsessed with her, the future queen of the kingdom. Not long after, Qingcheng steps out from hiding. She is no longer the starving child we saw at the beginning. She is now a princess. However, it becomes clear that she has often been treated unfairly by the king. Because of that, she openly supports Wu Huan's rebellion. The king is furious. In a fit of rage, he attacks her, and Qingcheng falls from the rooftop. She barely manages to cling to the edge, hanging above a deadly drop. At that exact moment, Kunlun, disguised in General Guangming's armor, is arriving on horseback. Qingcheng is losing her grip, and the king raises his sword to strike her down. Before the blade can fall, Kunlun throws his own sword. It flies straight into the king's stomach, killing him instantly. At the same time, Qingcheng can no longer hold on and begins to fall. Kunlun was supposed to save the king. That was his mission. But he remembers Guangming's words to save the one who is unarmed. In that moment, the only unarmed person is Princess Qingcheng. So he catches her and escapes with her, while Prince Wu Huan and his soldiers chase them down. Eventually, Kunlun and Qingcheng find themselves cornered at the edge of a cliff. Qingcheng mistakenly believes that General Guangming sent someone because he wanted her. As Kunlun tries to calm her, he tells her that the only thing that matters is that she lives. Those simple words soften her heart instantly. Then Wu Huan arrives and surrounds them. From what he says, Kunlun suddenly realizes the truth. He was meant to save the king, not kill him. Everything has gone wrong. Without revealing his identity, he demands that Wu Huan guarantee Qingcheng's safety. As for himself, he chooses to leap into the waterfall below. Meanwhile, General Guangming is captured by his own subordinate, Commander Yeli, who accuses him of betraying the king. As punishment, Guangming is tied up and left to be devoured by wild beasts. Not long after, goddess Mansion appears before him. Guangming insists that he did not kill the king, which would mean the goddess was wrong. But Mansion calmly reminds him that she never mentioned a name. She only said the king would die at the hands of someone wearing his armor. Fate moves in mysterious ways. With that, she frees him from his bonds and heals his wounds before disappearing once more. At the same time, Kunlun wakes up near the base of the waterfall. Somehow he has survived. Soon after, he reunites with Guangming. The general is furious at first, believing Kunlun killed the king, but the truth is more complicated. It was all a misunderstanding. And deep down, Guangming knows he still longs for Princess Qingcheng. So instead of punishing Kunlun, Guangming gives him a new order. He must save Qingcheng from Prince Wuhuan. But first, he demands the return of his prized armor. Once he puts it back on, Guangming mounts his horse and rides off. Not long after, Kunlun manages to slip into the place where Princess Qingcheng is being held. With nothing but a red rope, he pulls her out and runs at full speed. Qingcheng has no idea who is rescuing her, but she feels the rush of flying through the air as Kunlun moves faster than she has ever experienced. Prince Wu Huan quickly notices the escape and throws his weapon, slicing through the rope. Qingcheng begins to fall, but Kunlun reacts instantly and catches her before she hits the ground. Just when it seems they might get away, Wu Huan strikes again, using a long roll of cloth to trap them. In that tense moment, Kunlun realizes something he has never allowed himself to admit. He has fallen in love with Qingcheng, yet he knows who he is, only a lowly slave. None of that matters right now. All that matters is getting her out safely. Then General Guangming arrives, drawing Qingcheng's attention. Without knowing the truth, Qingcheng has already fallen for the man she believes saved her at the waterfall. Seeing the armor, she assumes it was Guangming who risked everything for her. She runs straight to him, ignoring Kunlun completely. Thanks to Kunlun opening the palace gates, Guangming is able to escape with Qingcheng on horseback like a true armored prince. Meanwhile, Kunlun is captured by Prince Wu Huan. It is at this point that Wu Huan finally realizes the real killer of the king was not Guangming, but a slave. Watching Kunlun's extraordinary speed, Wu Huan recognizes the truth. Kunlun belongs to the Snow Wolf tribe, the same tribe as the Black Wolf warrior who now serves as Wu Huan's right hand. To keep Guangming framed for the king's death, Wu Huan orders the Black Wolf to kill Kunlun and prove his loyalty. Inside the prison, the Black Wolf attempts to carry out the order. He makes it clear that he has no choice. If he refuses, Wu Huan will kill him instead. But during the struggle, Kunlun manages to overpower him. In that moment, the Black Wolf makes a decision. He switches sides and chooses to help Kunlun escape. Together, they flee. Elsewhere, General Guangming arrives at his hideout. Near a blooming cherry blossom tree, he and Qingcheng share a quiet moment. Guangming confesses his feelings, and Qingcheng admits she feels the same. It seems for a brief time that they have found happiness. Not long after, Kunlun arrives there as well. That is when Qingcheng finally learns that Kunlun is nothing more than the general's slave. The next morning, Guangming discovers that Qingcheng is preparing to leave. She explains that when she was a child, she made a foolish promise. Any man she truly loves will not live long. She refuses to let Guangming die because of her, so she chooses to leave and keep their time together as a memory. Guangming, however, sees it as betrayal. Blinded by anger, he orders Kunlun to execute Qingcheng on the spot. But Kunlun cannot do it. He loves her too, and no matter how loyal he is to his master, he cannot raise his blade against her. In the end, Guangming has no choice but to let Princess Qingcheng go. Still, he makes a silent promise to himself. If the cherry blossom tree drops its very last petal before sunset, she will return to him. After that, Guangming turns his disappointment toward Kunlun. This is the second time Kunlun has disobeyed him because of Qingcheng. Feeling betrayed, Guangming casts him out and orders him never to follow him again. For Kunlun, who has lived his whole life as a slave, losing his master means losing his purpose. He wanders into the snowy wilderness, completely broken, until he collapses with no will left to live. That is when the Black Wolf finds him and brings him back to the land of snow, the place where Kunlun truly belongs. Once they arrive, something about Kunlun changes. His presence feels different, almost noble. He begins to see faint visions of two women, his mother and his sister. Slowly, his memories return. The Black Wolf reveals the truth. When Kunlun was only 2 years old, he was kidnapped and sold into slavery. His mother and older sister were murdered by the ruthless northern prince Wu Huan. He also tells Kunlun that his speed is not ordinary. He can run faster than the wind, faster than time itself. If he fully awakens this power, he can even return to moments that have already passed. But to unlock it, Kunlun must discover what his heart truly desires. With that realization, Kunlun finally understands. He embraces his feelings, and his power awakens. He runs with a speed beyond the wind. After that, he decides to return to General Guangming. Surprisingly, Guangming accepts him back. Kunlun sees how hopeless the general has become, waiting beneath the cherry blossom tree for Qingcheng to return. Only one petal remains, and the sun is about to set. If she does not appear now, she never will. Unable to watch his master suffer, Kunlun uses his newfound power. He carries Guangming back in time to the moment Qingcheng was about to leave. This time, Guangming stops her. They open their hearts to each other. Ching Chung explains that she fell in love with him when he saved her from the king and when he leaped from the cliff for her. Hearing that makes Guangming uneasy because he knows those actions were actually Kunlun's, but he chooses not to dwell on it. Instead, he holds on to the love in front of him, and the two of them spend the night together. The next morning, everything changes again. Commander Yali arrives with his troops and urges Guangming to return to the palace, claiming they have captured Prince Wuhuan. Qingqing senses something is wrong and tries to stop Guangming from going, but Yeli keeps insisting, and eventually Guangming agrees. When they arrive at the palace, Guangming sees Wuhuan hanging from a rope, seemingly defeated and unconscious. For a brief moment, it looks like the nightmare is over. Then Wuhuan opens his eyes. It was all a trap. Before Guangming can react, Yeli's soldiers and Wuhuan's men surround him from every direction. There is no escape. General Guangming is captured, and fate tightens its grip once again. On the other side of the palace, Princess Qingcheng is also taken by Prince Wuhuan's soldiers. Soon after, General Guangming is thrown into prison, and inside the same cell, Qingcheng is already there waiting. Now all that remains is the royal trial for the king's murder. Without anyone realizing, Kunlun sneaks back into the palace. He finds Qingcheng in the prison and meets her in secret. When she begs him to free General Guangming, Kunlun makes a different decision. Instead of escaping, he chooses to face the court. He plans to confess that he was the one who killed the king while wearing Guangming's armor. Qingcheng simply smiles, thinking Kunlun is making up a story to protect his master. The day of the trial arrives. Guangming stands as the main suspect. Wu Huan acts as the prosecutor, and Qingcheng is called as a witness. Even with the threat of execution hanging over him, Guangming shows no fear. He believes that accepting blame proves the sincerity of his love for Qingcheng. But then everything changes. Qingcheng reveals that Guangming is not the one who killed the king. She declares that the true killer was his slave. At that moment, Kunlun is brought forward, still wearing Guangming's armor. He begins to recount the entire chain of events, from the moment Guangming was badly wounded and ordered him to take his place, all the way to the words he said to Qingcheng before jumping off the cliff. That is when Qingcheng realizes the truth. Kunlun's story is not fiction. It is real. She feels her strength drain away as she understands that she has loved the wrong man. Overwhelmed, she approaches Guangming and slaps him. The truth is finally exposed. Yet despite everything, the court declares all three of them guilty, and they are to receive punishment from Prince Wu Huan. At this point, Wu Huan reveals something from his past. His rebellion began when he was a child, after Qingcheng broke a promise to him. That betrayal shaped him, leaving him insecure and bitter as he grew up. In a surprising turn, Guangming persuades Wu Huan to untie him. Wu Huan agrees, believing he has control of the situation. But Guangming has no intention of surrendering. The moment he is free, he attacks Wu Huan, and the two engage in a fierce duel. During the fight, one of the weapons strikes the rope binding Kunlun, freeing him as well. After a brutal clash, Guangming manages to overpower Wu Huan. But just when victory seems within reach, Wu Huan grabs Qingcheng and uses her as a shield. They are forced into a tense negotiation, agreeing to release each other. Guangming lowers his weapon first, and in that instant, Wu Huan seizes it and drives the blade straight into Guangming's stomach, killing him on the spot. As Guangming falls, Kunlun charges forward in fury. He manages to stab Wu Huan, but Wu Huan strikes back, stabbing Kunlun as well. The two collapse, mortally wounded. In the end, Prince Wu Huan finally dies. Qingcheng rushes to Kunlun, who has now become the man her heart truly belongs to. But even then, Kunlun asked her to stay with Guangming until he takes his final breath. After that, Kunlun approaches a mystical robe created by Wu Huan, said to have the power to bring back the dead. He puts it on, determined to give Qingcheng another chance to choose her path. With his awakened power, he lifts her into the air and runs beyond time itself, carrying her back into the past. And with that final act, the story comes to an end. So the moral of the story is never sign magical contracts when you're hungry. Never borrow someone's armor without reading the fine print. And if you can outrun time, maybe sort out your love triangle first.